Shalom, everybody. Rabbi Edelstein here again with a short Torah thought sponsored by MEOR, Washington, D.C. MEORDC.com is our website. Check it out and learn about the programs we offer. This week's Torah portion is Masei. It completes the Book of Bamidbar, the Book of Numbers, and then we'll go on to the fifth book of the Torah, Devarim. And the Jewish people have completed our journey in the desert, in the Midbar. We're poised to enter the land of Israel. And this week's Torah portion opens up with a detailed list of the journeys that we as a people, our ancestors, went through in the Midbar from leaving Egypt on the way to the Holy Land. And it says, these are the journeys of the children of Israel. Moses wrote down their goings forth on their journeys. And then there's a list. 42 names given to places in the Midbar, in the desert, where we stopped. And each verse is almost numbingly repetitive. It says, we journeyed to so-and-so and encamped there. We journeyed from A and encamped in B. Journeyed from B, camped in C. Journeyed from C and encamped in D, and so forth. 42 place names given. Why? All the great commentaries and sages throughout the ages, okay? They ask why. Whenever there's a list in the Torah, genealogy, details, the Torah does not waste words, and the Torah is not a history book. It's not an old ancient chronicle. It's Torat Chaim, instructions for our spiritual lives as human beings and Jews. Why do we need to know 42 place names of what the Jewish people, our ancestors, did in the desert? And there are many beautiful answers. Rambam Maimonides says, because that generation experienced the miracle of God taking care of them in the desert, but we might lose faith in the reality of that. So God told Moshe, write down specifically every stop on the way. And there was a name to each of those places in the desert. So it will strengthen our own faith in the veracity of the Torah, of what our ancestors experienced, and to increase our sense of gratitude for the miracle that God took care of us in an inhospitable wilderness for 40 years. That's a beautiful answer Maimonides gives in the Guide to the Perplexed. But there are many other answers, and I want to share one with you, a whole way of looking at this Torah portion. Every one of us, every individual Jewish person, is on a journey in life. So too our people. In fact, in the last 2,000 years, we've journeyed through the wilderness of the diaspora, and there are comparisons and connections there to talk about. But on the individual level, deeper sources tell us that just like there were 42 stations in the Jewish people's travels in the desert, each one of us, every Jewish person, from the time we leave our mother's womb till we leave this world, after 120 years, God willing, goes through 42 stations, spiritually speaking, 42 major challenges in their life, the purpose of all of them to elevate ourselves, because that was the purpose of the travels of the Jewish people in the desert. It was a time of spiritual growth. It was a time of leaving behind all the spiritual impurity of Egypt to enter the Holy Land. Each one of us in our lives is sent here by God, each one of us with a unique soul, a unique mission, life circumstances and challenges, and we have 42 stations in life to go through, to meet those challenges, the purpose of all of them to grow as human beings, to be witnesses to God in this world, to bring out the godliness inherent in this physical world. That's our mission as a people, and each one of us in our unique way as individuals. And just like the Jewish people were led around the desert, they didn't wander aimlessly. They were led 42 different places. God leads us in our lives. His providence is watching over us. He takes us places He wants us to go because there's special potentiality there for us to perfect our characters and bring sanctity to this world. It says going forth and journeying, two different words. The commentaries say we should go forth with a spirit of desire for spiritual growth. The Jewish people sometimes had more positive trips in the desert, sometimes less. But on the whole, they journeyed forth courageously from stop to stop. That's how we should be. Our life should be one of uninterrupted spiritual growth. There are times of consolidation. That's why it says they journeyed forth, they encamped. They journeyed forth, they encamped. There are some periods in our life which are more active, spiritual, challenges, and there are times where we consolidate levels that we've grown, that we've reached. Journeying, consolidation. Some commentaries say the weekdays are the journeying forth. Shabbat is the consolidation, the shalom, the peace, the internalization of all we've learned in the previous week. So our lives are a journey of great potential. There's no moment in our lives certainly no major period in our lives that's not special, that doesn't have great potential. I wish you and all of us together this week to have a greater sense of our journey in life, and have a wonderful, wonderful Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.